Hi, I'm going to show you how to install your high-powered H7 LEDs using your high beam and low beam adapters. Before you start, you will have already removed your Promaster headlight from the vehicle using my step 1 video instructions. You'll want to start off with a non-scratch flat surface. I use a foam pad. And you will be putting your Promaster headlight upside down on this flat surface, which makes it easier to work on. Let's get acquainted with your headlight first. So again, your headlight should be upside down on a flat, non-scratch surface. These are the two entryways for your light bulbs. On the outside of the vehicle, you have your low beam, and on the center of the vehicle. To get access, you need to firmly rotate counterclockwise on these two circular doors. There might be some resistance. Just keep persisting and they will budge. Here's what the inside of the low beam chamber looks like. You have your wiring harness and you have your retaining clip. To remove the retaining clip, you press on this flexure right here and remove outwards. This removes the H7 halogen bulb as well. As you can see, the H7 bulb prongs plug directly into the clip. When you have a high-powered LED, you have a big heatsink here, which disallows you from plugging it into the stock wiring harness. This is why we need adapters. Set aside your halogen H7 bulb and tuck away your wiring harness so that you can have clearance to work on the bulb area right here. This second hole is a nice way to get your hand in and maneuver things out of the way. Take your Torx T15 bit and your screwdriver holder and you will loosen the lower screw. That is the retaining screw for this metal bracket, which goes all the way inside of the housing and has a cone blocker for the low beam. So you will back out this screw until you hear that disengagement. You hear that? There you go. When you hear that disengagement, that means the screw has been backed out all the way. When you hear that, turn back the screw clockwise, half a turn. This will ensure that the screw will not fall out and this bracket will not fall into the hole. If you accidentally do back the screw out and the bracket falls in the hole, don't worry, you can turn the headlight upside down and finagle it back out. Now take your H7 LED bulbs. This is the OpenGlass custom light bulb, and you will remove the H7 flange. On this bulb, it is a friction fit, so I can just wiggle it off. Set aside the bulb for now, and we will be working with the H7 flange. Now get your low beam adapter. You know this is the low beam adapter because it has two metal spring fingers on the bottom of it. That allows secure and snug fitment when installed in your headlight. Notice on the H7 flange you have a long side and a short side. You want to make sure on this longer side you mark with a Sharpie right here on the edge to indicate where this tab is. This will be important for alignment later. Then you'll insert the long side of the flange into the bottom of the adapter and line up those tabs. You'll know from the top that you are in correct alignment by looking at this marker here and making sure it's lined up with the bottom of the adapter. One way to get this adapter and flange onto that hole is to hold it like so. Index finger on the edge of the flange and thumb on the tab of the adapter. You can get it inside like so. Another way is to put your index finger in the center. Make sure that the tabs are aligned, and you can put it inside like so. Notice that you can see the metal tab poking through the window at the bottom of the adapter. You can check from the side view of the other hole just to make sure that the H7 flange is properly seated against the inner surface of the housing. What you don't want is it to look like that or like that. You want it to be completely flat on the surface of the housing. What you don't want is for this Sharpie marker to be out of alignment with the bottom of the adapter and the screw. If it's out of alignment, you can use your finger to rotate it back. And once the marker is aligned with the bottom of the adapter and the screw, you want to check again from the side view to make sure that the flange is sitting flush on the surface. Take your Torx T15 bit and your bit holder and screw in the adapter. You will feel some resistance because it is spring-loaded, and that is by design. Go all the way until you have a very secure fitment. Do not over torque, because these are plastic threads and they will wear out if you abuse them. From the side view, you will see a gap between the adapter and the H7 flange. That is okay, because the spring fingers on the bottom of the adapter are pushing the flange tightly to the surface. Now you're ready to install your high-powered H7 LED. The OpenGlass Van Mott LED bulb slips right in using our 2 silicone shock mounts. When you insert it, make sure the wire is pointing down at the screw. That ensures that the light element is vertical within the headlight. Push it in all the way until you bottom out. And you can just rotate to get your alignment dialed in. Retrieve your wire harness that you've tucked away and notice the 2 slots for the prongs to go into. The correct orientation is to install the negative prong into the slot that is next to this flex arm. Tuck in your wiring harness and external power supply away from the heatsink and fan. Now you're ready to tackle the high beam. This is your wiring harness, and you can remove the wiring harness and bulb by pressing on this flex arm here and pulling it out. It pulls out your H7 halogen bulb. Remove the bulb and set it aside. Take your H7 LED bulb and remove the flange like before. Set aside your bulb for now. Take your H7 flange with the long side facing outward. Notice the tab. The tab will fit right in this pocket. You can use your index finger to get it in. And just make sure it is seated flat and that the tab is right here in this pocket. Remove the screw using a T15 Torx bit. Set it aside. Take your H7 LED high beam adapter and note the orientation. This tab will be sitting away from the housing. You will also know that you are in the correct orientation if this slice right here, is facing you. Place it inside. Reinstall your screw. And make sure it is snug, but do not over tighten. Take your H7 LED bulb and again push it in. This time the wire will be coming out the top. That will ensure that the LED element is vertical. Push it until it bottoms out. Verify that the pigtail comes out the top and is aligned with the screw. Retrieve your wiring harness and again find the negative prong and plug that into the wiring harness closest to the flex arm. Neatly tuck it away, making sure that you clear the heatsink and fan. Do one last gut check to make sure that the wires are exiting at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. This is crucial for a good beam pattern. Replace the caps on the back of your headlight. It'll be a good idea to make sure that these O-rings are clean to prevent moisture from getting back in. The headlight is ready to go back into the van. After you reinstall it into the van, make sure you proceed to step 3 to do your vertical beam alignment to prevent blinding oncoming traffic.